Welcome to Just Hair Me Out, a podcast about love, life, and hair. I'm Barbara. I've spent over 38,000 hours coloring hair.
Hi, I'm Demetra, and I've spent over 1,000 weeks with scissors in my hands.
With 50 clients a week in our chairs and 22 years on our feet, doing hair is not our hobby, it's our hustle. We've navigated salon politics and then opened salon suites of our own in 2020. We choose dogs over kids, skinny marks over beer, and we've only fired 3 clients each. Welcome back to Just Hair Me Out. We are back in business, and we want to talk about some chemical stuff today. One of the main questions we're going to be answering is, why does chlorine turn blonde hair green? First of all, though, I wanted to talk to you real quick, Demetra. I think this is so funny. I saw a funny meme about how hairstylists, when they go to shop at the beauty supply store. So, and listeners, the beauty supply store means you have to have your cosmetology license to shop there. The people that work there are sometimes hairstylists. Like maybe you, for one reason or another, aren't actually doing work behind the chair. So they almost always know stuff. But the meme was implying like how snarky we can feel shopping in the store when they come up and say, "Can I help you with anything?" Because we're like, no, I know everything about everything in the store.
Right.
I think it was a character from The Office, actually. And he was like, "I know more than you."
Pretty much. That's truth.
So, because I remember the last time I actually really prefer to shop online. But I've gone into a place and someone was like, "Oh, let me help you." And then she was like giving me alternatives for what they were out of. And I was like, I know what the alternatives are. I just wanted what I wanted.
Right.
Anyway, so not to be snarky, because I'm sure some know more than others, because you have to be able to like know what you're selling and stocking the shelves and whatever. But I was showing it to my husband and he was saying, "Oh, that's just like me when I go to Best Buy." because he's an IT guy and he knows like all the stats about all the computers. But if he's like, just like, "Oh, let me see the new whatever," because, you know, I'm like, please don't buy any more computers. We have too many.
Yeah, someone's probably walking up to him saying, "Oh, well, this has this feature or that." And he's probably like, "Yeah, I already know that."
He's like, I could explain it to you. I could also take it apart and put it back together.
Right.
Anyway, that was my funny moment for the morning. So I want to talk about chelating. And this term is becoming more popular for people to understand, but it's more like a chemical term. Chelating is removing metals. Mm-hmm. So like a chelator would be something that removes metals. And a lot of people actually take medications, or not medications. I remember I used to do this. Some of my mentors were big on taking these drops that you put under your tongue. It's kind of like a holistic approach, but a liquid that would remove heavy metals from your body, because inhaling the chemicals like we do all day, you can accumulate more heavy metals. And it's an interesting topic because it's also kind of like, you remember how, gosh, I think in the late 90s, they were already talking about tuna, eating too much tuna, you have too much mercury, you know, pregnant people shouldn't have seafood. There's a lot of metals in water. Mm-hmm. And heavy metals can cause a lot of problems in your body. I know that also children being on the spectrum, they often are given treatments to pull heavy metals out of their bodies.
I did not know that, really.
Yeah. And so a major way to do that is the infrared saunas.
Oh, I have one of those.
I know. That's why I was like, when I was at your house, I was like, damn, Gina.
It's Gina.
It's really good for you.
I love that sauna, by the way. Speaking of water, just really quick, right?
Yeah. Alkaline water.
Yeah, alkaline water. Here, it has a whole level of telling you what's acidic, what's neutral, what's alkaline. It has a whole pH scale on the water. This is a pH of 9.5. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm drinking the water and you're talking about this actually has a scale on there.
Yeah.
You know?
So your hair and skin and nails are naturally like 3.5 to 4.5. Mm-hmm. And when we put something on your hair specifically, that is very high alkaline, it is opening the hair strand and your hair will feel rough. And when we make your hair much more acidic is when it's like shinier, softer, cuticles laying down, and it is like mirror-like reflection.
Right. So I think most people don't understand that. Basically, think of your hair strand like basically a piece of rope. And if that rope wasn't twined, let's just say it was straight, right? Basically, what happens if you cut into the rope a little bit on different spots, right? That's like what the cuticle does. Little pieces start opening, closing. So that's what Barbara's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, your cuticle, one strand of hair opens and actually closes. It's little scales, right?
Yeah. So when something is very alkaline and it's put on your hair, thousands of little scales like open up, and that's how we can change the color of your hair.
Mm-hmm. Has to open in order to process and for the color to go into it.
Yes.
Right.
So semi-permanent hair color is when it's just sitting on top of the cuticle. Any kind of permanent hair color is opening the cuticle and going inside. So on that same vein, when you use a clarifying treatment or shampoo, it is cleaning the outside of the hair strand. When you use a chelating or detox shampoo, that is cleaning the inside of the hair.
I didn't know that. Shut the front door.
Yes. So when...
okay.
Oh,
hold on. I'm going to cut you off
yes.
because I will forget. How do you know when to use one or the other? You don't have to answer now. You can say what you say. Just put that down for listeners to know. How do you know which one you need and when to use it?
Okay. The short answer is you should use them in tandem.
Really?
Yes. And I'll tell you what, part of the issue is like the symptoms, if you will, of having metals or a lot of buildup on your hair are kind of the same.
Okay.
Unless it's like super obvious, such as a swimmer goes in chlorine and their blonde hair turns green. That's metal in your hair. Because chlorine oxidizes copper. So the copper in the water, your hair will grab it like a sponge. And that's what that green color is. If you think about copper and like how it, do you call that patina when it starts turning green?
Right.
Yeah. I have a really nice copper faucet that I love. And yeah, right at the bottom of the...
Yeah. It's that pretty, it's like that sagey green though. It's like so pretty. It's on like old vintage houses. I love that. Those with like the copper roofs and stuff.
Yeah. So one thing that's become really, really popular all of a sudden are filter shower heads that are going to filter out the hard water. And a huge one that I've just seen it like exploding in popularity all over the place. I think it's on TikTok. It's called the Jolie shower head. It's not Angelina Jolie, but it's spelled just like, pretty.
Right.
So the Jolie shower head is like pretty expensive, but apparently it's like the newest technology. It's universal. You put it on your shower and the water coming at you will be filtered out all the metals. So, okay. Sorry.
So this also keeps from, you were talking shower head, right? So we're not just talking about your hair. We're also talking about your skin. When you're showering, your skin is porous, right? So your skin is also absorbing those metals as well when you shower.
Yes.
So this is very helpful for someone who, like a man is like, honey, we don't need this shower head. I have no hair on my head. Well, guess what? It's going to help keep the metals from going inside. So yes, tell your husband.
Yes.
We need it.
Yes. And it's a steal at $165.
Oh, not bad.
It's not that bad. So let's rewind. I have like too many things bouncing around in my head. So if your hair feels dry, your scalp feels itchy, your hair is kind of limp, or extra frizzy, these are all things that can be caused by heavy metals and buildup. I want to describe it as like I do a lot of blondes, right? And the hard water in your shower can make the ends look a little brassy, and not even putting bleach on top of it necessarily like lifts that out. It's really interesting.
Because it's mineral.
Yeah.
It's more of a stain is what ends up happening. That's why you can't really lift it out.
So a chelator is something that binds to the metal and pulls it out. Well, it like binds to the metal, and then you're using something clarifying to help like push it all out.
I love it.
Yeah. So clarifying shampoo can be really great. They're not all created equal because there are clarifying shampoos that leave your hair still feeling nice, and others make it feel, I don't know what to say about that.
It's like straw, like, hey, like when I do the keratin treatment.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because a lot of people always say, oh, no, the keratin's making my hair lighter and they think it's from the shampoo. But actually, that clarifying shampoo is pH balanced and it's meant to be used even right after a color service without disrupting your color. Yeah. But it's weird because it makes, for it to still be at a nice balanced pH, it is very clarifying to the point where your hair feels like shit if you don't use a conditioner with it. Like I've used that clarifier on my hair just in between, even when I don't have like, I'm not doing a keratin treatment. I personally really like it as a clarifier. I feel like it's like a strong one, but yet it isn't. Because if I put conditioner in it right afterwards, my hair is like amazing. You know, so it just kind of depends what you're doing. But it is true. They're not all, really created equal. So
yeah. So you want a good one. The main thing that a clarifying shampoo does is it will remove excess oil. So think like teenagers too. At least once a week, it's really good to use a clarifying shampoo if you're someone who gets kind of oily. An excess buildup of like dry shampoo, hair products, even dirt, all these things. So it's really, really cleaning the surface of the hair. So when you need a chelator, it is mostly because of hard water. And I was looking it up. There's maps online that show you, like, according to where you live in the world, certainly in the U.S., what areas have hard water. And all of the Midwest has extremely hard water. So go figure.
There's a map?
Yeah. I'll put a link to it.
Oh my God, that is so friggin' cool. I love, attach the link. Yeah. That is so cool.
Surprise, surprise. I think California has not very hard water. All of the whole state. Anyway, interesting. But this is like an issue for us Midwesterners or, there's others too. But like the center of the country is like in the high hard water section. So think of a chelating shampoo as instead of washing your face, which is like clarifying shampoo, getting a facial where it's like deep cleaning, pulling out the minerals and the metals. And it can also remove effects of medications we take that come out in our hair. I did look it up. If you smoke pot and then you get a drug test, chelating your hair will not make it look like you didn't do pot.
Wait, it won't or would?
It won't. So don't get too crazy with that. But, there's a lot of prescription medications that we take that have an effect on our hair. And this will pull out the results of those, too, which is really kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
So as I go back to using them in tandem is really great because one is like pulling out the inside stuff and then you follow it up with a clarifying shampoo and then turn around and deep condition the heck out of it. And it's going to be amazing. So this is a huge thing if you have curly hair. If your curls are not behaving or they're like more straight or I'm trying to describe how it, like I can, when I rub hair between my fingers, I can kind of feel it. How would you describe that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where
you mean on the curly hair or what is it?
Just hair in general when it's like full of stuff.
Like chlorine and stuff?
Yeah.
It's not like a film, like grease. It's almost like I could tell when someone's a swimmer. My scissors won't even cut the hair. It's weird. I don't know how to explain.
Hard, kind of.
I don't know if it's hard or too soft, to be honest. I think because it's so. My experience, though, with people with a lot of chlorine when I'm cutting. I don't know if it's different when you're coloring that, but when I'm cutting them, I could tell their hair is extremely shiny. It's like almost extra soft, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
That's why like people are like, oh, well, isn't that a good thing? Her hair is really shiny. Oh, isn't that a good thing? It feels soft. And it's like, no, it's not good. If you can't get a $1,200 pair of scissors to cut your hair properly because there's something on that strand, right? I just don't know how to explain it.
It brings back life and volume to your hair to take out those metals.
Right.
So For
basically.
curls, if your curls aren't acting normal, if you do a chelator, it really brings back the bounce, I would say. Yes. Now, there's this company called Malibu C that's been around for a long, long time, and they don't get enough credit. They have all these different treatments that pull out metals. They're huge for shampoo and conditioner, things like, and all sorts of products for swimmers. So they're really well known amongst hairdressers, at least, for that. They actually have a hard water wellness shampoo that is both a clarifier and a detox, a collating.
So they basically combined them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I might have to try that because, I have a pool. I'm in the water a lot, but it's weird. My hair never turned, like I just, I had it highlighted. It was highlighted this summer and my hair did not turn green. I was hoping it did because I like ashy.
That's just blonde.
Yeah. Mine just turns more coppery looking, which is another sign of the metals, right? You know how I'm always saying, like, I can't get that copper out of my hair. Well, there you go. I'm in my pool, right? Because my hair's not lifted enough like a true blonde, per se, to turn green.
Yeah.
But I should check that one out. Malibu C,
Yes.
right? I didn't know they had that, actually.
They
I thought
have,
it was more for, like, color removers and things like that. And
No, they have swimmers shampoo conditioner that swimmers should use like all the time. And they have a hard water wellness line that you could just use like once a week if you're just kind of a regular person. If you swim, I would say multiple times a week, you would want to chelate your hair.
I told you, I have a lot of clients that come in and a lot of their kids are swimmers or they're in the pool all summer and they're always asking me and I'm always telling them, you need to clarify their hair or the reason why their hair, you're right. It does have a dryness on the end. When you go like this in between your fingers, it's like, even though it looks shiny, you touch it, it has that hay feeling to it.
I feel like it almost crunches. Like
Yes.
when you
Exactly. It's crunchy.
rub the strands in your fingers.
Because what I was thinking when I was hair cutting, I was like, I don't know, because I'm thinking of the wet hair. But when that exact same very chlorinated hair is dry, it's very crunchy. So it's like weird, it has this dry, crunchy feel. But they're always asking me, I'm like, you need to clarify the hair. But now this product is even better because obviously we're in the Midwest. So now I have a good one to recommend everybody. Thanks for that, Barbara. Yeah.
Now, and I have another one I want to tell you about. But first, let me tell you, and maybe you've seen this. A lot of hairstylists have witnessed this, especially hair colors. If somebody uses box color at home, and granted, they're not all created equal, but a lot of box color that's sold in a grocery store, it's, as we have a whole episode on this box color, but they're made as cheaply as possible to maximize, the profit of whoever's putting these boxes together, right? And a very cheap product to put in to these to color your hair are metallic salts. So they have metals in them in order to color your hair cheaply and efficiently. The problem is when you try to change it, it becomes a nightmare. And if any hairdressers out there know, if somebody uses certain box dyes on their hair and then say that person comes in and says, I would like some highlights, and well, this is a whole other episode. You have to use bleach in order to highlight somebody who's already had permanent color in their hair. So when you do that, if it's on top of metallic salts, the packet, the foil that you put it in will swell and they can even smoke. And it's like this chemical reaction of like bleach and metal.
Wow.
It's actually really bad. And the hair is like very damaged. So This is a hard one because sometimes people don't want to admit what they have in their hair. Or they think like, oh, well, see, if anyone's watching on video, say my hair is like, 10 inches long. You have to do the math of like 3 years ago, what did I do to my hair? Because down here, I could highlight my hair. And if this part, the last 3 inches of my hair had a metallic salt put on it, that will look totally different and much more damaged than everything else, even though the same thing was put on it.
It's not even because you can't lift it properly. You can't get through it. And people don't realize when you ask them, I think some people just think, oh, I haven't box colored my hair like all year. Well, that's only 6 inches of growth, which is from here to like right here, right? So
Yeah.
this whole part is going to come out really good, but technically anywhere where you had box color, it's going to be a nightmare for the colorist, actually.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people think, oh, if I haven't done anything in a year, oh, it's just box color probably went away. No, it doesn't go away. It's like DNA. It stays in the hair strand, basically.
Until you cut it.
Till you cut it off, right.
Yeah. Same with marijuana. In your hair until you cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a newer product that has come out, a K18. I think we've all heard of this. Well, hairdressers have. They now have something called a peptide prep, and it has 5 chelators in it, like 5 separate ingredients that will chelate different types of metals and minerals. And it is like a huge deal. It is so awesome. It's a spray, and then you follow it up with a clarifying shampoo. And so I'm really excited about it as a colorist because I can do that treatment right before I color your hair, because the color will take much better when all that junk is pulled out.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And how long would something like that take? Like if someone wanted to book an appointment, how much more extra time would they probably need if they needed that service prior to their color?
10 minutes.
Really?
Not in the traditional methods, but with the new K18.
That's amazing.
It is a huge deal.
That's a game changer.
Yes.
Right. Wow.
So, and they, like I said, they have a special shampoo for clarifying along with it. So that's the tandem thing.
Sorry. If anyone's watching our show, I'm very itchy because I was in the garden before doing this podcast, and I have really bad allergies to stuff, but I love to garden. So that's why I'm very itchy. So I apologize.
You're fine. Also, side note, Malibu C makes something called Undo Goo, and it's a shampoo because they have all these different like crystal treatments where it's like a little packet with little crystals in it. And you have to read each one of them. They have, I think, 10 different ones maybe for different scenarios. Like there's one to lift out direct dyes, like fashion color vivids. Because that's they're stored in a different spot in the hair strand than, permanent color. Anyway, their traditional one really cleans out the hair and pulls out metals and is chelating. But you mix these crystals in a little bottle with hot water and it turns into like this thick gel. Anyway, it's very cool. But they have this shampoo now that goes with all of those called Undo Goo. And it is really cool. Really cool stuff. So it's using the tandem thing we were talking about before, clarifying and chelating. And then you want to follow that with a deep conditioner and your hair is going to be amazing.
I love it.
Demetra, I'm actually thinking like how we've been coloring your hair. It'll probably react better if we chelate first, because I don't know if some of the swimming and stuff that you've been doing is affecting your highlights.
I know. That's what I'm wondering. Should I do one before?
I'll do it on you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. We might have to do a little video that day to show everybody the process.
Yes. So I just want to follow this up with saying this is what gives hair colorists anxiety and not knowing what is in your hair.
Right. Yeah.
And I know one of my mentors, probably my main mentor, would always say to me, when you take on someone new, everything they've ever done to their hair is now your problem and your fault.
Yeah.
And I think it was
basically
more like, not to create huge amounts of anxiety, but like you need to investigate and know what's really happening.
Especially when it's like people are looking for a change or a color correction, especially color corrections, because they're obviously there to repair something or to change something that is not right. So you have to really investigate, get all the information possible for the best outcome possible. So you have to be like a little detective.
Yeah. But this is also why, this is sort of a rookie mistake. Don't mean to be rude if anyone's ever done this, but you get a permanent hair color on and then you're like, ooh, it's too dark. So you start using clarifying shampoo.
Right.
It's not going to do it because it's cleaning
permanent.
the surface.
Yeah.
And the permanent color is on the inside. Not that the chelator works on the inside, but it's geared toward metals, not color. So
yeah. So it's not going to pull it out anyway. So in other words, using a clarifying shampoo is not going to pull it out if it's too dark.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it can be really disappointing if you're like, oh, I just need it a little lighter.
Give it 2 weeks or sit in the sun.
That's true. That too.
Honestly, a few shampoos will do it and then sitting in the sun. I feel like mine, because I'm technically a level 5 and I was always trying to match my natural, every time I would color it, my hair would almost look black. And then within a week to 2 weeks, it is the perfect color. And I don't know why that happens.
I know. And people tell me that. And
Yeah.
And then I've done it lighter and they're like, oh, it's great. And then they come back and say, well, after 2 weeks, it was too light. All right. So stay tuned. We will be following this up with a little demo of the K18 peptide prep chelating process on Demetra's hair.
Yay. So exciting.
Right. See you guys next week.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe or follow. And please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Lastly, follow us on social media for clips of past and future episodes. All our accounts are listed in the show notes below. Thanks so much for listening.